Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking a new video. Mine means a lot that you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. And today we're talking about this merge episode. We finally gotten here. It's been a great pre-merge, and let's talk about this merge episode in the Battle of the Gays. Of course, if you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff because it's free, it's easy, and it really does help the channel out. Okay, so first we start out with Josh. He's feeling good about not having to go to tribal, and he's really happy about having a new opportunity to move forward in the game. That seemed like it would be over for him about 24 hours beforehand. Of course, this is because Gathu got medevaced, his arm finally gave out, and he just decided to leave the game for personal health reasons, making Josh's tribal with the Jam and Carolyn not happen, which is great for Josh here because, of course, Jam and Carolyn were going to come back together and vote out Josh. That's what it seemed like. The timing was perfect, and also, as speaking of timing, Josh is saved here because it's the merge. It's merge time. He finally gets out of this three-person tribe, and of course every tribe merges, except it's not really a merge. It's like mergatory. See, they are doing the exact same twist as they've done the past 3 seasons, where of course we don't get a real merge at 12. What we actually get is like a merge where half the people are actually eligible to be voted out. So 6 of the 12 people actually are eligible to get votes at the quote-unquote merge tribal, which I think is silly. I mean, it ends up being really boring in this episode, and it takes away a lot of the strategy. To me, in this episode, the wrong group wins the challenge, causing the more boring group to be up for grabs as far as boots goes. And I really think that if they just did a natural, regular merge, they would have a lot more success as far as the entertainment value of their merges. Prior to everyone kind of meeting up on the same beach, we see Carson disclose to Ratu that he has an immunity idol that was good up until this point in the game, but is no longer good. They understood that the same would be true of the other 2 people who got swapped in Josh and Jamie. At their camp, they also know that Lauren has an extra vote, as she told them. Before Matthew left, he also told Carson that Jamie has an idol, but only Matthew knows that it's really a fake one. And then Carson is not yet aware that Carolyn and Danny have each of their idols from their little cages. And then as far as the other fake idol goes in the game, that belongs to Matt, and it was made by Danny. And Danny is the only person who actually knows that it's fake. At least that's what we know from this point in the game. Also, Tika's fake idol went home with Sarah, as did the inheritage advantage. So that there really is little advantages in the game, but also tons of like fake and voted out advantages. So I guess in the end it did kind of work out. Before there was time to even walk off the beach at Ratu, Josh was already telling people different stories. He told Brandon the same lie that he told Carolyn and Yam last episode, which is that he has used his journey idol and that he still has a real one. But then, of course, he tells Jamie truthfully that he has a fake idol and used the journey idol. Jamie right away told Heidi and Franny this, and Josh is now someone who's seen as kind of sneaky and is on specifically Franny's radar from the very beginning, not really knowing what's true and what's false from Josh. And so Franny is kind of poised to target him once again. Meanwhile, Yam is really concerned that Josh's influence on other players in the game is going to put him in a bad spot because him and Josh have been going at it on their pre-merged tribe. And of course, he feels like this is going to make him very vulnerable in the game because he has fewer connections to anyone in the game than really maybe Carolyn is the only person who has less connections. I mean, other than him, he is in a really bad spot as far as social gameplay goes. Matt actually tells Yam openly that the plan is to get Josh out, though. Later that night, Carolyn and Carson and Yam have a meeting where they solidify to each other that they want to, work together and connect. And Carson urged Carolyn to reconnect specifically with Jam so that they could bring together their Three Stooges alliance from the original pre-merged tribes back together. Carson's plan would of course be for them to lay as low as possible so that the stronger forces can go at each other and they can swoop in at the end with a strong alliance of people. With everyone at the same camp, it's getting harder, for Matt and Franny to kind of hide their relationship. It's more of a friendship at this point, but it feels like it's just about to get into that like I like you territory from the increased amount of eyes on them. Their targets are really rising. They're really concerned right now with just not appearing like a tight pair out of fear of being targeted, because Matt, is staying clear that their trust is real, but that they really have to have a delicate line to walk as far as their PDA per se. Even holding hands is like death in the game here. At the challenge, we of course see them split up into 2 random groups, and the group that loses and is going to tribal is of course Heidi, Danny, Josh, Yam Yam, Lauren, and Kane. Those are the 6 people who are up to get voted out. The other 6, Carson, Matt, Jamie, Franny, Carolyn, and Brandon, they're all on the merge feast. Back at camp, Yam Yam knew that he was in trouble as one of the 6 going up for the vote. In a conversation with Danny and Kane, he opens up about wanting to vote for Josh, and Yam Yam didn't think that Danny reacted well to this and decided that he made a mistake in really saying anyone's name at all. Meanwhile, Josh is talking to Lauren and Heidi about wanting to target Yam Yam, which they were willing to do, setting the stage for a Yam Yam versus Josh, GAYS versus GAYS head-to-head matchup. When Josh left, Heidi and Lauren discussed that it's actually best for everyone's game if Josh goes home, because they don't know about his idol and whether it's real or not, and they really just don't trust him overall. They knew that they needed to have a plan B as well, though, which they haven't really decided yet. Back at the merge feast, Matt and Franny were not shy about throwing Josh under the bus and wanting to target him. Brandon said that this is fine, but warned everyone about the idol and asked for a plan B. The group decided that Kane would be the perfect plan B, since no one really cares about Kane and has strong ties to him. But Carolyn insisted that Josh's idol is fake and they don't really need a plan B. Everyone heard what Carolyn was saying, but they decided to just not really care about what she was saying and kind of shunned her off to the side. Again, kind of strengthening her edit, because we see this from her perspective. I think if we saw it from the rest of the group's perspective, we would just see Carolyn having a bad social game and people not liking her and her being an outcast. But her outcastness, if that's even a word, is kind of shown in a way that benefits her edit and makes her kind of an underdog in a way. When the winning team returns, mostly everyone got on the same page about targeting Josh and then using Kane as the backup plan. Franny told Josh to vote for Kane, which prompted Josh to attempt to squash the beef between him and Yam Yam. They briefly discussed working together because no one would suspect it, and that they could both survive if they got Kane voted out instead of either of them. Still, Yam Yam wants to target Josh, and he just is kind of lying there. Brandon is particularly interested in Kane being sidelined by everyone because Kane is the player that burned bridges with Brandon at that first tribal. Unfortunately for Brandon, Carson had grown very, very close to Kane and decided to warn Kane that he was being used as a backup plan. Feeling very, very unsafe, Kane used the rest of the afternoon to basically campaign people to vote for Yam Yam as a backup plan if Josh actually had a real idol, so that there'd be enough votes on him so that it didn't come back on Kane instead. When Brandon found out that Carson told Kane about Kane being the backup plan, Brandon was not pleased at all. But Carson played it off as a silly mistake, and it seemed to blow over at least pretty well. Once word got back around to everyone that Kane found out about the vote switch, everyone went back to voting Yam Yam as the backup instead of Kane as the backup. At Tribal, of course, almost all of the votes could go on Josh, with a few going on Jam Jam as a backup. I believe it was something like 7-4 or 6-4. Again, a pretty decisive Josh vote out here, and Josh does miss the jury. But what do you think? Did you like the episode, or were you not as big of a fan of it like me? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, none of this happens without you guys, and that's how I'll talk to you guys in the next one.